Hello everybody, this is Danny from Deep South Homestead on Porch Time today. I'm not able to actually go outside and do Porch Time outside because it's like freezing and we have a wind chill that's just below freezing, so I decided to come in the shop today and sit here on the bench and do my Porch Time today. Now if you hear a noise in the background on this, it's not the camera. There's a tree trimming service right out beside my house here right now with a huge machine running. It's actually trimming limbs off of trees and stuff like that. So the noise, if you hear a noise, that's what it is. Porch Time today just happens to fall on the day that Wanda and I started our YouTube channel. Exactly this day a year ago. And as in my last Porch Time I talked about some of the past year, this video may be a little bit on the same track. We are extremely, I don't really know what the word is. I guess thankful, gracious would be two words that I would use for all of y'all making this possible. It's been a journey this year that we've extremely enjoyed. And in the beginning, I never actually knew that it would go as far as it's gone, because Wanda and I, this was something that when we first started it, it was new to us, and we did not know if we would be able to survive at it, because neither one of us are, I guess you would use the word tech savvy. We're just simple country folks. Neither one of us have any. Wanda has a little bit of computer training. I have zero computer training, even though I do know a lot about computers because I've studied them. It's just not our field, let me put it that way. But nevertheless, starting YouTube was a big experience for Wanda and I. And as we began to put up videos, I think the first video, I'm sitting in my mind trying to go back, I think the first video we did was the rocket stove video, because you have to understand, before Wanda and I did YouTube, we had a site for our farm which was called Bluebird Farm. And I did the rocket stove video and put it up on Bluebird Farm because we did several things on Facebook for Bluebird Farm, because Wanda and I actually done some truck farming after we got married, because neither one of us held a job. I was not able to work at the time, and we did the truck farming. Then we tried selling some stuff from our house. We tried selling different things, and we were just looking for our niche, I guess, as homesteaders, to try to be able to be financially sustainable so that we could do some things here on the homestead and be able to survive. And the rocket stove video we pulled off of Bluebird Farm and actually put it on Deep South Homestead as our first video. And as I go back and look at it, I'm like, really? I look at the craftsmanship that I put into this video, the editing and stuff, and I'm like, really? Did I really do that bad? And then we began to make, we made several other videos along the way. I actually put up one to do with smoking bacon, and I left out a lot of steps to it, not knowing a lot about YouTube and how it should work. I did leave some steps out on the video, and we made a new one this year as we made the bacon, and I went back and I put a lot of those steps back in there to I'm an in-depth person. I like to make sure that I don't leave anything out. And I've gotten a lot better at it now when I do the how-to videos, because I feel like when you leave something out, you're really not fair to the people. And I have to be real careful, because so many things are second nature to me. I just assume that everybody automatically knows this. And Wanda's been real good at helping me with this, telling me, Danny, people don't know this. You need to bring in every exact step. So in the videos we do now, we try to make sure that happens. Now, as we moved forward with our YouTube channel, on Valentine's Day, Wanda was involved in our first Frugal Family collab, which went over real well. We enjoyed that. She had a blast doing that. It was on Valentine's Day, our time was, and we really had a good time with that. And you know, we struggled in the beginning because we really didn't, like I mentioned, we really didn't know what we were doing as far as how to get this channel up and get it running. Now, granted, we had Googled YouTube videos and how to make your channel successful, but you know, I'm gonna say just like it was when I taught, you can read books all day long, you can watch the movies all day long, you can do all that kind of stuff, but until you actually jump in and get your feet wet, do hands-on, that's the actual best way to learn when you're doing anything. And we didn't really have a goal this year as far as how many subscribers we wanted by the end of the year. We kind of talked about it about halfway through the year. I think it was in late June. We talked about how that we would like to have maybe, you know, we would maybe 5,000 to 10,000 subscribers would be good, but we didn't think it was possible for us to get to 10,000 by the end of the year. Well, we have surpassed 10,000 by the end of the year, and it's not by anything we've done. It's by the graciousness of y'all's heart and just y'all's caring for us, and for that I am thankful, and I would say thank you for that, because it's been a real blessing for Wanda and I. It's been a humbling experience for us, because like I told you in the last Porch Time, we were looking for a ministry to be able to reach out and help people. Not necessarily, when I use the word ministry, it's not necessarily doing anything spiritual. We wanted to just help people in general. And the one thing that both of us had a lot of knowledge in was gardening, herbs, you know, being able to do things on a homestead, because I was raised that way my whole life, have lived that way my whole life, and Wanda had a lot of experience in that. So basically what we was doing was looking for a way to impart knowledge to others. And we felt like that YouTube would be a good way to do that. And so when I use the word ministry, please don't mistake it for having to be anything to do with spiritual stuff. Even though here in the last couple of months we have engaged in a new channel called All God's Children, which does deal with spiritual issues. And that within itself has been a blessing. Now, I've not been able to carry it as far as I'd like to, just simply because of the workload around us here. But when we do get the opportunity, we do put up a video on All God's Children speaking about God's Word. We feel like that's a big part of who we are, because it had come to a point where it was hard for us on Deep South Homestead to talk about all the things that was going on here and how we were being blessed without actually bringing God into it. So now that we have All God's Children as a separate channel, it does make it a little bit easier for us. Now on Porch Time, I do still mention God a lot, because it's who I am. It's a part of who I am. And it's really difficult to talk about a homestead and being blessed on a homestead and not give God the credit for it, because I'm just not that kind of person. I feel like that God should get His due glory out of anything. And our success in part is based on y'all, but I still give the glory to God, because I feel like that without God intervening in several areas of my life, none of this would be possible. There's some things on our videos this year. We had some tragedies that we spoke about. We had our corn blow down one time, and we had so many comments about the corn blowing down. And so many people telling us, well, if you would stand it up and tie it up, or if you would stand it up and put some dirt back by it. And some said just leave it alone. This was a real good opportunity for Wanda and I to make this video and to actually show all three ways of it and show which one was the most successful. So we did do that, and for us here at our homestead, the most successful way was allowing the corn to come back up on its own without any intervention from us. That particular part of the corn patch produced more corn than the other patches, part of the patches did. So if y'all have to just excuse me for a moment here, I always check my fire because I don't want it going out. I like to kind of keep a little bit of a fire going outside, because like I said, it is cold, and I don't want my fire to go out, because this is probably as good a time as any to talk about it. This particular wood heater here, the pipe goes out, and for those of y'all who've watched our video know that the pipe from this wood heater goes into my greenhouse and then goes out the roof of my greenhouse. And being today it is so cold, it's barely above freezing here, I keep this fire going in here because we have a single wall pipe in the greenhouse out there. It helps to heat the greenhouse. So there is a double purpose for the wood heater, not only heating the shop in here, but it also heats the greenhouse out here, which has been another part of our journey here on Deep South Homestead, has been the greenhouse. I mean, it's not necessary for us here to actually survive with, but it sure makes it easy in the early spring and the winter time. We can keep a few pepper plants, and you can see in some of the videos we have. We keep the pepper plants and some tomato plants and just some different things going in the greenhouse that gives us a little fresh vegetables along the way to have during the winter. And then when springtime comes, we can raise our young tender plants in here and maybe get a little bit of a jump start on the cool weather. And for those of y'all who don't know anything about our homestead here, we do a lot of different things on our homestead here. We have hugelkultur that we do. Hugelkultur is a German word meaning the mounting of dirt. And if you watch our videos, you'll see some of them deal with hugelkultur. We do use that method here in the South. We have animals on our homestead here because we believe in order to be sustainable on a homestead, you do need some sort of animals. We raise some pigs on the homestead here. We raise the hair sheep, the Katahdin with black-faced Dorper cross. We have free-range chickens that just range all over the farm. We have penned up chickens in the chicken pen, which are Wanda's egg-laying hens. And then we have chickens in our chicken tractors because they actually, we use them to till certain parts of the land up. We put them beside our asparagus. We have some of our grapevines we keep them beside because as they use the bathroom, then the fertilizer from the chickens will actually fertilize the grapevines. And the fruit trees, we move them beside all these things during the course of the year as a fertilization process is basically what we do. We do permaculture here on our homestead. We do intercropping. We do companion planting. We do some monoculture here on the homestead. We do container gardening. We do raised bed gardening. We do greenhouse growing. There's lots of different aspects to Deep South Homestead. We try to make our channel as versatile as possible. We raise fruit trees here on the homestead of lots of different varieties. We raise a lot of different berry trees here on the homestead. I mean, we have blueberries, blackberries, huckleberries, I mean, raspberries, you know, dewberries. I mean, you go down the list, there's just a multitude of berries that we actually grow here on the homestead. We do foraging here on our homestead, which we get out in the woods. Wanda really likes doing this, and she likes to forage for her food occasionally. And we do that aspect of it also. We do grafting here. We graft most of our trees to create the trees that we want to grow on our homestead and be prolific and efficient here. We feel like all these different skills that we use here on the homestead are necessary for a homestead to remain successful should a life-changing event take place. We do have tractors. We have equipment that we use on the tractors to work the monoculture with. We do have hand tools. We have Hoss, the Hoss double hole plows that we use to plow our stuff with because some of our garden beds are small enough that we can use the Hoss tool in. We have some places we can use a tiller. You know, so we try on our homestead to show an array of different ways of growing things here because basically that's what Deep South is all about. Deep South is about teaching how to remain sustainable. Now we do some butchering videos here on Deep South. As you saw, I showed one here a while back on how I skin a deer. I showed how I butcher a deer. I have one coming up about how I make sausage from a deer meat, the process with that. We'll be showing some coming up with butchering chickens using a chicken plucker. we just do an array of different things on the homestead here because we want to try to get as much information out and as much knowledge to as many people as we can, because we feel like that's just absolutely necessary here at Deep South Homestead. And you know, as we moved into the journey on Deep South Homestead, there's a few people who made Deep South Homestead possible. I'm going to mention several people here. We've had a lot of visitors come this year. The first visitor to come to Deep South Homestead was actually Danny and Leslie Fox from Scratch Made Homestead. They were the first ones to come spend some time with us here on the homestead. I think they actually stayed, the first time they just came, but the second time they came and spent some time with us. And what a blessing. We got to know them really, really well. And Wanda and I watched a lot of different YouTube channels, and we actually done what we call adopted our first YouTube child. And that was Amanda from Freedom Acres. Amanda was just like one of our own kids. And we told her that we had adopted her. Amanda came and visited us here at Deep South Homestead. Had a fantastic time with the lady. She's just, y'all, she's a great girl. She's a single mom trying to make it with a young child, which touched Wanda and I's heart. We've had, oh man, so many more. Nikki and Fred Stanley came. They visited with us. I mean, we've had Old Alabama Gardener has been here. He spent some time with us, visited with us. And we've had people that don't have YouTube channels, which I'm not going to mention their names because I just don't know that I have their permission. They've been by here and visited with us, numerous ones of them. 2.67 acres. He came by, we did a sugar cane video with him. Fantastic people, we really enjoyed them. You know, I could just sit here and go on and on and on about all the people who have come by here and visited and made Deep South Homestead possible. Eric in Life in the Farmland did a shout out for us. We didn't even know it. Somebody came to us and told us, says, man, have you seen the shout out that Eric from Life in the Farmland done? Well, we didn't even know it. We was like, no. So we pulled up his name on the YouTube channel, and Eric, we love Eric. We love his channel. I love the boy's channel because he's so ingenious with a camera. You know, he does such fantastic work. And he did a shout out to us, and Eric, we just want to tell you thank you, man. Eric was such a blessing to us. Empty Hammock came. Empty Hammock shot a video with us here. Very professional. Called Homesteading Myths. If you haven't seen it, you need to go back and look at it. It's really a good video. Empty Hammock, Barry and his family will be here again shortly. Hopefully we'll be putting some more videos up with him because he wants to come back. We have several that are actually scheduled to come in the next few months. Looking forward to having them here. But like I said a while ago, there's one that was very special to us because this one person took a gamble on Wanda and I when we only had, I think, less than 10 videos out. This person took a gamble, did a shout out for us, and threw us out with a shout out. And that particular person is here spending Christmas with us this year on the anniversary of our YouTube channel. Now, y'all will never know what that means to Wanda and I. This family is like family to us. We feel so intertwined with them. We feel so close to them for having taken that risk with us, jumping out there and believing in us, that we've formed a bond with this family, and it's amazing. That's all I can say. It's awesome and it's amazing. And I'm going to ask this individual to step in here with me and to finish Porch Time out with me today. Okay, everybody, I'm fixing to introduce y'all to Julianne from Dirtpatcheaven. Julianne, if you don't mind, come on in and be with us. This is the young lady I'm telling y'all about. Of course, a lot of y'all know her, but there are those out there that may not know who she is. This is the lady I was talking about. I call her the queen of YouTube for me. She's like God's gift to Deep South Homestead. She's the one that took a chance on us right at the beginning, And I just want to look at you and personally say thank you for stepping out when we only had just a couple of videos and believing in us, because that actually meant everything to Wanda and I.
Well, I have to say that a lot of people say stuff like that where it's like, thank you for taking a chance on us. But for me, it was so exciting to see somebody that was so skilled at living the life and not having it be a hobby, but having it really be a way of life. That for me, it was like, I was so excited to see that. And I wanted it to be something where you just jumped off really quick and got going, because it can be really frustrating to be a YouTuber in the beginning because nobody knows you're there.
Right.
Is anybody even watching me? Is what I'm doing making a difference? And so if somebody can just start with a bang and people find them, you don't get discouraged and you keep teaching us.
Yes. Yes, and that, your shout out was our kickoff. You know, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, Eric and Farmland came behind you. We didn't even know it. You know, like I mentioned a while ago, somebody just emailed us and said, hey, Eric did a shout out. And from that point on, things just really progressed for us. But, you know, Julie, we watched you for quite some time before we actually even knew who you were.
Really?
Yeah. And I told Wanda, when you did the shout out, it was almost like, it was like something that, like a dream. Because we had seen you before, and to have somebody like you come in and do a shout out for us, we was like, how does this happen? You know, how does this person that's well known all of a sudden just come to somebody like us who is simple country people and do a shout out?
It's because it's lonely. If you're the only person out there that knows how to do anything, it's lonely. You really want people to be able to share the experience with and ask advice from, and it's not the idea in your head is like, wouldn't it be really cool if I could ask them questions and they don't go away and they don't get discouraged?
Right.
You know.
So we really, we've enjoyed, like I told y'all, they're here with us for the Christmas. Actually, on our anniversary of our channel, I thought that was
pretty exciting.
I thought that was really exciting to have her here, and it's just been a blessing.
Yeah, it's been so fun. It's of all the people to come and see. When everybody, I don't remember, there was one show we did where everybody asked us if there was one homestead or one YouTuber you could go visit. Who
I do remember that.
And just like that, Danny and Wanda.
Yeah,
we want to go see Danny.
We saw that video, and Wanda and I were sitting there. We just both turned and looked at one another, and we're like, "What?"
It was so true. And I've talked to so many people that's exactly how they felt about it.
Yeah.
That they're like, "Yep, Danny and Wanda," without a second thought. And I think it's because you're so good at what you do. You're polished. Your equipment is professional. You don't. Nothing's ever done by halves.
Right.
And so you know that when we see you start a project, you'll show us the finished project. We'll understand how you did it, what tools you used.
Yes.
There won't be a question in our minds: am I wasting my money? Am I wasting my time?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Julie was a lot kinder to us than Eric was. Eric called us old people. Buddy, I had to throw that out there, you know. It was just funny because when you got through your shout out, Eric followed right behind you within a week or so, where Eric said, he said, they're these great people. He said, they're old people, you know, and he's like, then he stopped and he goes, well, they're not really old, you know.
You just live an old-timer lifestyle.
Yes.
It's not age. It has nothing to do with age. It has to do with old-time knowledge and skills and practical application. It's the real thing.
But that's what we believe, Julie. We think that should a life-changing event take place and people need to know how to do things the way our grandparents did them, there are very few videos out there that actually show that.
Yeah.
You know, most everybody, you know, they talk about being sustainable. They talk about doing all these things, and yet I look at them and I watch them, and they're still using all the modern equipment. They're still using all their electricity. They're still, you know, jumping on a tractor doing things. Even though we do those things here, the bottom line is we try to show hands-on how you can do it without the equipment.
And we've been eating out of their garden the whole time we've been here. We've had greens, we've had fruit, we've had sausage, we've had eggs. You know, there's a few things that had to come from the store just because Danny and I have some health conditions that don't allow us to eat certain things, and some of those things had to be purchased. But for the vast majority of the bulk of the diet we've had while we've been here has been just absolutely gourmet,
Yeah.
Incredible food. We feel so well. We feel like we've really recovered from our trip where we had to eat things that weren't so great for us. It feels like we're eating back home, but we're doing it in Mississippi.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about Deep South Homestead is here we predominantly do eat what we raise.
And it's delicious. It's not just grub.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
It was raised right. There's no chemicals, no pesticides on it, anything like that. It's good. And I'm gonna add a little humor in this because I feel like it's always necessary. You know, Julie and I do have health issues. You know, Wanda and John are always throwing it up at Julie and I about the way we have to eat, and we have to be gluten free. We have to watch out about a lot of the different chemicals that we put in our bodies, and a lot of the different things that we eat. And it's a joke. It's become a joke around here with all of us. You know, it's like they're gonna go ahead and eat all their stuff and die and get it out of the way and just leave Julie and I in the world out here to fend for ourselves. You know,
Yeah.
but it's kind of funny, and we get a lot of laughter out of it because we think that it's kind of cute. And you'll probably be seeing some videos in the near future coming up about some of the stuff we've done while they're here. And I think some of it will be humor. Some of it's going to be really educational. There's going to be some videos coming up between the North and the South. Some of the different aspects of gardening, just the different aspects of lifestyle, homesteading. During the different months of the year, we're going to have some on the spring, the summer, the fall, and the winter. Julie and I is going to be sharing a collaboration in these videos, and we're hopefully going to be able to get them up where y'all can watch them within the next month as we're going into spring, coming out of winter.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll be educational, y'all. I hope they'll be uplifting.
It was educational for me. I mean, and I know how to garden where I am, but the thought that if we relocate,
Yes.
that talking to Danny about that was eye-opening, but maybe somebody who doesn't garden in this area couldn't have told me that. So just listening to what Danny said about gardening here was really eye-opening to know where would we want to locate, who would we find to talk to about it. And it's not just a generalized YouTube video. We get very specific about it, and I think it's really exciting to have that back and forth conversation about it.
Yeah, it actually, I mean, I've lived in different parts of the country. I've worked in different parts of the country. I've never farmed in different parts of the country. I've seen farming in different parts of the country, but talking with Julie, I quickly came to the realization that it's two different lifestyles.
It is.
Completely two different lifestyles. As we go through these videos and take y'all on this journey of the spring, the summer, the winter, the fall and the winter, you'll see in our conversation the differences between North and South.
Yeah.
And how that when I tell y'all on my YouTube videos that what I'm doing here at Deep South may not work for you, then you'll understand why after you listen to our conversation.
Because many times we surprised each other. We would look at each other like, "Are you kidding me?"
We would be like, "What?" And and she would tell me things that they do up there, and I'm like, especially the feed.
Yeah.
I guess the feed part was what blew my mind. How you can buy feed for up to a year or two in advance.
Yeah.
And down here, if we get a couple of weeks in advance, it just we have issues. But nevertheless,
so it was a big deal, and it was a fun conversation.
It was a good conversation. I mean, we don't give a lot of it away, but Julie, I thank you for doing the shout out. I want to thank you for coming by here and spending time with us because it has been a blessing.
Well, thanks for having an amazing channel. It matters to try and share that information, and on top of that, to be so generous to have us come and live with you for at Christmas time of all times to come at Christmas time. This has been a real. I almost want to kind of call it a healing experience for us. To be able to come and have that friendship.
Well, it's actually been the same for Wanda now. She was actually talking about it with me. It's funny you use that word. It has been a healing experience for us as well.
Yeah.
Because we know there are fellow YouTubers out there, and we know they're all good people. Most of them are. But when you actually interact like Julie and John and Wanda and I have, you really know it's genuine.
Yeah. It's been special.
It's
been really
special. It's been real special, and it's been at a special time of the year.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all from Deep South Homestead. Wow.